If I had $1 million.
Couldn't do much with $1 million, bro.
You couldn't do much with $1 million?
No, that wouldn't be life-changing money.
What?
I mean, it would change. Yeah, it would change my life, but it wouldn't be like if you won the Powerball, like if you won the lottery.
I don't know, man. $1 million would
$1 million would be sweet. It wouldn't fuck you up, though. Fuck you up.
I'd just pay all my bills.
I would settle up.
Settle up, dude.
I'd go
Who's
to
that guy?
Yeah, there's some TikTok that you sent me. Dude's like, if I won the lottery, bro, people wouldn't really know because I would just go to the DMB and settle up. He's like, I'd buy paper towels.
Oh my gosh.
We wouldn't be, yeah.
If you're buying paper towels, you're fucking rich. What's good?
What's up?
We're back. We're back, and we're awake.
Yeah,
we're awake.
Yeah. Nice glasses.
Thank you. There. I'm just wearing them because my eyes feel like the Chernobyl 4 reactor. But we're back. We say that every week. I feel like we can only say we're back if we take like a couple weeks.
We're not going anywhere, so
that's right.
Get used to it.
We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
Still here. What are we talking about today?
We're gonna talk about if we won the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think probably maybe just some general stuff about the lottery too.
Yeah, bro. I mean, when I say lottery too, I mean like, you didn't win, a little money on a scratch ticket. You won the big thing,
like
the kahuna,
$900 million.
Yeah,
type of shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's scary stuff.
Should we define a number before we get into this?
Let's define a number. Let's say you won whatever. Some of these Powerball, Mega Millions, whatever. Call it, whatever. It's $600-700 million.
Okay.
After taxes, though, say you take home $400 million. $400 million cash.
Okay.
All right.
$400 million is our number today.
400.
All right, hang on. Let me get out my notes for today. I'm on my way. I only need $399,999,999.
Still $1 million shy of being a millionaire.
That's right. Just a couple more of these.
Yeah. 400 mil. What are you doing, bro? Say you got that ticket. Say you got the ticket. And the moment you see it matches up. I'd go into cardiac arrest, and if I didn't.
Yeah, if you survive the news.
I feel like I'd be shaking on my way home. If I'm driving home, I'd be like,
dude, I'd be going 10 miles an hour the whole way home.
Yeah.
I think, that feeling when you're about to get some just horrible news and all the blood leaves your face and you feel it in your eyes and in your stomach and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like I would feel that feeling to a certain extent. But I'm being careful on my way home, man.
Yeah, man. What do you do?
Then what do I do? Are we assuming that I have the money?
No.
Right then and there?
You just have the piece of paper.
I probably just sit down on the couch for a second, try to collect myself.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
I'd probably call my parents first things first.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm telling anyone.
Really?
Not a soul.
Dude, think about if people find out. Think about if your parents found out that you won the lottery and didn't tell
certainly
them.
I would let my mom. I would call my mom. She'd be one of the first people I'd talk to, obviously. But there's as soon as somebody knows, somebody else knows. Like, here's my thing.
Who's your circle of trust here?
Yeah, but it's also like you have to. There's some things you need to do before. I think like you need a lawyer up right away. I think I'm going to a lawyer, maybe even before I call my mom. I don't know. Like, this is where it gets hairy, and my mom's probably listening. She's like, "What do you mean? You?" I would never tell anyone. This is for everyone's safety, right here, dude. I was looking at some statistics. People that hold those kind of tickets, like 20 times more likely to die a homicide. Whoa. Think about if someone found out you have the ticket and you live in people know where you live and stuff. Like, it might turn into the purge, bro.
Yeah.
So if you're holding that piece of paper, I don't think you tell anyone. That's just my opinion. Right out the gate.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think you get a lawyer and you talk about, you talk about what you're going to do with this crap. Like, because it's so dangerous, bro. It's dangerous, man.
Just having that much money all at once.
It's dangerous.
I mean, $400 million is an asinine amount of money.
Yeah.
I do agree with your point to tell a lawyer. I think that's a good idea. Maybe just hire one and have them handy.
Yeah, you got to talk to them immediately, I think.
Or just have some kind of protection in place, whether that's a lawyer or even just a friggin' bodyguard. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't go to your family lawyer who you got in your family or whatever.
Right.
You go to
I will say, I'm telling my parents, I'm sitting down with them and I'm having, because I know they're going to watch this episode, I'm having a long conversation with them about this does not leave.
Right.
This does not leave this circle. Because here's the thing. I think what I would want to do, I'd want to pay off any debt that the people my family had or my
of course you do that.
Me.
Yeah.
But I might pay it off anonymously. Think about that, right? Because you could, imagine they just get a letter in the mail someday. It's like, all right, you settled up, and they're going, what? How did this happen? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I'm telling my friends and stuff maybe that I invested in the stock market 5 years ago, 10 years ago, forgot about it. And I came across some money. Now I'm not going to certainly I'm going to help out my close friends, but when people know the number, oh, he won 400 mil. That's dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would be impressed if one of my friends had $50,000, but if they had $400 million, totally different story.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like if you won 400 mil, I mean, I might be out stretching my hand. I might expect a little something. And that might be you might be like, oh, well, they're a captain. I don't know.
But I do think I'm gonna probably be on this soapbox for a lot of this episode. I do think you have a moral obligation with that much money to help people.
I agree. Certainly. I
agree.
If
you're just gonna spend that money yourself and be selfish with it, then go to hell.
I think there's two routes. I think there's the cocaine hooker and chartering yachts, doing that kind of thing, and then there's the let's play it kind of modest, close to the chest, like play it real smart. You could live off the interest, obviously.
Right.
You might make $700,000 a year in interest.
Right.
But then you might do that, and then you might be like, man, why I should have went with the cocaine and hooker route on the yacht route. Maybe you're like, maybe there's some FOMO. Like, I look at all this money. I look at the life that I could be leading. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to win the lottery, bro. You don't want to do it.
I did. Yeah. No.
It's tough.
It's an interesting point.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this passage if you don't mind, real quick.
Sure.
This dude on Reddit apparently won Mega Millions in 2016. Whether that's true or not, I could never know. But I'm gonna read this. He goes, or she goes, I won the Mega Millions in 2016. Net after taxes was mid 8 figures. I claimed anonymously in Ohio. I set up a trust to manage the winnings in several anonymous LLCs to create barriers between me and the money. Then I told my family. Big mistake. They took me to court to place me in a conservatorship, whatever, to try to take control of my assets. The judge laughed them out of the courtroom.
What?
I also told some friends who promptly turned on me when I refused to just hand out cash to them for no reason. I changed my name and my social security number and went off the reservation. I bought a camper van and traveled the lower 48 for 3 years, getting my mind right. I now live on an off-grid mountain farm where I raise chickens, pigs, and goats. I grow my own veggies. I grow my own tobacco. I grow my own grains and hops for brewing beer. And I grow my own fruit for making wine. Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. Listen, if this happened to me and I fucked up and people found out and relationships were ruined, I think I would do something similar. First of all, you never know where the economy is going to go to. You have this much money, right? Mm-hmm. What if the dollar turns to shit?
Right.
So I think it's very intelligent to buy your own, get a farm and educate yourself on how to agriculture, how to raise your own food and stuff. Yeah. That's something I would probably do.
Buying land is huge, man. Yeah. Land is a huge asset in this world. And
especially the shit you can farm on and stuff.
Yeah. That's so interesting that person's family turned on them, man. I mean, I don't think that is something that we could apply to every family.
No.
But it certainly would happen. I mean, people get weird about money, man.
Yeah, man.
People get weird when you owe them $50. Imagine if I was like, hey, I'm swimming in debt and you have, $1 million now is nothing to you.
Right.
And you could just pay off my debt with a fraction of that and you're just not doing it. You know what I mean? Because
as a friend?
Yeah. But how do you ask someone to do that?
Right. It's a tough spot.
How do you go to someone and go, you have all this money. please, can you pay off my debt? And
A
then
lot of people
you're in a
would.
weird position because I feel like if I do it for you,
Right. Now
I got to do it for
all my
everybody,
close
man.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
Oh, that's a weird.
It's tough. Would you take the
position.
lump sum or would you get the annual payments?
Um,
For me, it's a lump sum all day.
I've heard. I knew someone who worked in or around the lottery before, and they said to always take the payments. I think there's something about the lump sum where you actually end up getting less.
You do
of
get
it.
less, but
Yeah.
I think you could just be smart investing it and just
You could.
make a lot more. I don't
Or
know.
you could not. You could make more investing the recurring payments.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
But
because
I know a lot of people that have won the lottery. It might be the demographic of people that are buying lottery tickets, so they make bad decisions when they win
It
these
could
big
be.
payments. But a lot of them go bankrupt and stuff.
yeah,
Just wild to me. But
I mean it's weird. All right, let's talk about, aside from helping people, take that out of the question. What's the first thing you would buy for yourself?
I would probably sell everything I have first.
Really?
I might clean slate it. Yeah,
Interesting.
completely just. I would get myself I would decide where I want to live and get myself a dope house. That'd be step one, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good first move.
Yeah, and then furnish it with sick furniture. And it would be interesting, like I think the location. I'd buy mad houses though. I'd buy mad properties
And then just manage them.
and just. Yeah, I mean, I'd buy personal properties. Like I'd have my 5 houses around the continental U.S. or whatever, all the places that I like to be, I like to go,
Yeah.
and I just bounce around and different seasons and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of a lot that I just said, but I think a property, like one property,
Yeah.
would be the first thing, probably. Yeah. You?
Yeah. I would probably buy a house somewhere. I don't know about having multiple houses. I don't know if that's something I would want, but I think I would want one, not necessarily a big house, but a really cool house that has a really cool layout and it's just very interestingly thought out. I would want something like that. And I would want to just upgrade it to the nth degree, man.
Mhm.
Have a full recording studio in it. And it's interesting. I was talking about this with Tomas the other day, and we were for those who don't know, he's a good friend of mine, mixing engineer, great producer. He mixed my record, and we were talking about it the other day, and he was going, well, we were talking about, I was like, I don't know if I would build a recording studio actually, because then you're, buying out the experience of going to a studio.
I think the convenience of having one in your house would maybe lead you to make more music or whatever.
I don't think it would, to be honest with you, because it's a creative thing for me. Like I am way more creative when I'm in a place that's just for that.
So maybe you buy your own.
I
You
could.
could just buy your own. You're saying, you know what? You bring up an interesting point, bro. The idea of getting out of your place of residence to a dedicated creative space.
Right.
And I do that. I'm way more productive when I leave this house and I go to like Switch Yards or whatever, which is like a work club in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But for some reason I go there and there's like a paradigm shift in my mind. I'm here to work. You know
Right.
what I mean? I
Exactly.
could work in my studio there, but my Xbox is calling out to me or
That's
whatever.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
it's
and so
interesting.
even whether that's the layout we have now or that's a, fully furnished studio in the basement of a home, I still think that I would want to go and maybe own it, but also not, because I do think there's benefits to involving yourself in places where other people are not only financially, but they're creatively in charge of. You're stepping into like an already curated world. You know what I mean? There's just something about like submitting to that space. And if I knew that I owned it, I feel like I would act different.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Interesting.
If I actually owned it, that opinion might change, but
Right.
it's kind of where I'm at right now. But to answer your question, I think the first thing I'm buying is a cool house.
Yeah. Would you trade that money for anything?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I think if you could.
Here's the thing about having so much money and people know about it. Could you really, any partner that comes into your life, could you ever They would have to be wealthy already or something. You know what I
You'd
mean?
be
It's like the
paranoid.
celebrity thing, right?
Yeah,
This person
like,
even
people just want it for my money. I think that's another reason why you'd have to keep it really close to the chest.
it'd be hard to hide it.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you do for work? Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, that's why you have to be, you know, super smart about how you spend it.
Right.
You know, if you're frivolous with it and you're very flashy with the things that you buy, people don't care. They're just gonna know.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if I went out and bought, you know, a new Subaru Crosstrek, no one's gonna be like, that dude has $400 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which does sound like a sweet car right about now. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point. To answer your question of would I trade it for anything? I mean, if we're talking like, if I could, you know, this is gonna sound a certain way, but like if I could trade it for like world peace, you know, obviously, I would do that.
Respectable.
I think.
Admirable.
Well, I just think that like,
What does world peace even mean?
I don't know, less war.
Yeah, I mean,
no
as long
war.
as long as there's limited resources, I feel like there's always going to be battle. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of it's perspective, man.
Yeah.
Controlled scarcity. That's a big part of it. Like,
Yeah.
You know, if we're playing like a wish game, you know, obviously I can't solve world peace for $400 million, but you know, it's how much like a missile costs in the military. You know what I'm saying?
If I had terminal cancer and I can trade all the money to not have that obviously it's a no-brainer. But you also can afford the best medical treatment.
True.
Yeah.
But you
If I
know,
had to trade it for anything.
some stuff will kill you no matter what, you know? Would you trade it if someone you loved, if like your spouse or partner had a terminal illness, would you trade it for them?
It's hard to speak on that as someone who isn't in love with someone right now, but I imagine I would. Yeah.
I feel like,
you know,
imagine standing in that hospital room just knowing. I mean, imagine living with that guilt the rest of your life. Oh my God,
that's a good point.
Because when the money's gone and when you're on your deathbed and money doesn't mean anything to you anymore, you're going to think you could have given that person more time with their kids.
Most certainly would.
Yeah.
Especially if kids are in the mix.
That's what I'm saying. Or even more time with their family. You know what I'm saying? Like what you're robbing people of by not acting on that. It's like.
But not a random person. I'm sorry. It might be kind of.
Yeah. I mean, if someone's like, hey, I'm not going to tell you who, but could you save someone? I mean.
400. That's dark.
That's tough. I think that's a question that is really. People don't want to talk about.
No.
That's dark because I think a lot of people would like to go, of course I would save that person.
But most people,
but when you're in the moment,
absolutely,
most people wouldn't. If people can't turn on their fucking blinker on Moreland, bro, like I'm not, you know, I don't trust people to spend $400 million on someone else. I think, you know, certain aspects of our personalities are very selfish as human beings.
Absolutely.
You know, that's something we have to consciously try to overcome.
I think that's part of the reason we evolved from apes and I think we were okay with killing each other.
100%.
That was a big part of it.
Still very much are.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, humans have this if it doesn't affect me directly, I don't care about it mentality. And, you know, that has definitely changed over the years, I think, but it's interesting.
Yeah. This person on Reddit here said something interesting about before you tell anyone, decide how much you're going to give to your family and friends, and that's the number. I think that's an interesting point.
You're saying you tell each person the same number?
No. So in my understanding is that say you have 400 million, right? No one knows. You decide, you sit down with an attorney, whatever, you decide 20% is going to be for my friends and family or whatever. And then whatever, what's 20% of 400 million? 80 million. So
nice.
Okay, 80 million is going to be dished out. And that's
tell them that's how much I got.
Sure, probably.
And because then to them, you're like, I already gave it all out. It's gone.
Yeah, maybe.
It's gone.
Yeah.
How'd you get that new Subaru Crosstrek, bro?
Yeah, I like that point. I kind of think that's smart because otherwise you might get yourself into some trouble.
Well, that way you also can still give money away.
Right.
Without,
of course,
you know, being the target of homicide.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
I don't know. It's so weird, man. So weird.
I know. I think the big thing here is it's just impossible to imagine what it would be like to have that much money unless you actually have it. You know?
Your whole world changes, man. Think about everything we
Right.
do is to make money so we can pay our, like, if that is completely out of the picture now,
Yeah.
you never have to worry about it.
You're all of a sudden above the ceiling.
Right. So what is it like? What becomes your purpose? Like, I was reading this story the other day on social about a guy who he sold his company or whatever, made like whatever. He might have made $1 billion. I don't even know. But then he was like wicked depressed. He like had no purpose.
Right.
So like, what does your purpose become? And it's easy for us to sit here and be like, yeah, I would still like do like what I want to do, whatever my thing. Like, we could be motivated by money and not even realize it. You know what I mean?
No,
So,
that's a totally valid point, man.
so it's like, you know, I don't know.
It's like, I mean, people always, it's like the age old question: can money buy happiness? Right.
To some extent, I think it can.
Yeah, I think it can buy security.
Certainly, which can lead to happiness.
Right. It's not just a point A to point B question. You know, there's a
Right.
lot of stops in between that make that work. So you could say the blanket statement of money does buy happiness, but it's just not that simple.
Right.
You know,
Right.
money fixes.
Money alleviates you from a lot of things that would make you unhappy.
Right. Just financial burden.
burden.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Money can't buy purpose.
No, but it can buy freedom.
Right.
I want to travel the globe for the next 5 years.
It can buy freedom to find your purpose.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so crazy how influential money is.
So
Man.
weird, man.
It is, and this is like, this is nothing.
It's
Like,
just the
what
trust.
even is this?
We trust that it means something.
It's just a fucking symbol.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Right.
That this is,
right,
you know, we kill each other over this.
Literally, yeah.
It's so wild, bro. And this is like, we've created this. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't, like, what is backing this? I know that, you know, money used to be backed in gold.
Right. Trust in it, I guess. Like, that you can go and like get shit with it. I don't know. I'm
But, like,
starving. Okay. I have some of these. Like, I can go and.
Yeah. But what's interesting is when you exchange this for stuff. For an example, we bought these microphones.
Right.
The company got this
Yeah.
and we got this. This is so much more valuable in terms of, and from a purpose perspective, because now we're able to communicate with an audience.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if we just had this, we wouldn't be able to do that.
So if there was no trust in that anymore, though.
They wouldn't take it.
Right.
For the microphone.
But what, like, say, what do we do with these? You know, I don't know. I
What do
don't
you
really
mean?
know where I'm going with this.
Keep rolling.
This becomes a weapon? I don't understand.
Like if there was no trust in the dollar?
Right. Okay. We have some microphones now. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this can be very influential.
It could. That's a good point.
We live in the fucking podcast
Right,
generation,
right,
man.
right,
Like
right,
podcasts are influencing elections.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like that's
That
crazy.
is nuts.
And so the power of the microphone and like the power of the pen and the voice, it's all very real. And like you could have all of this in the world, but if you don't have influence, like influence is powerful, man. You
Right.
know?
That's why I said if the system breaks down and there's no trust behind that dollar anymore, that's why I was saying I would have bought a farm. I would have been self-sustainable.
right. You buy something that's just totally
Off the grid.
it's just like very cyclic, just efficient. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I think that was a really smart move.
It's a smart move.
But you have to like, you're buying yourself the opportunity to educate yourself on that.
Right.
And
I think, yeah. I'd buy a lot of gold too. I think gold's legit.
You know what's interesting is like, why is gold valuable?
There's not very much of it.
Right.
We print so much of that crap.
Right.
Like,
That's why it just doesn't make sense that it's fucking valuable. You know
like
what
how
I'm
you
saying?
keep grabbing it. You're like,
It's just
"Fuck
like,
this
what
thing."
the fuck is this piece of
Yeah,
shit? But then
yeah.
when someone puts one in my tip jar, I'm like on my knees, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just,
Because I understand when people put it in my tip jar that it's food on my table. They're putting food on my freaking table.
right. But
It's
they're
just-
symbolically putting food on your table.
dude. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like this just keeps getting passed down the line in exchange for
That's probably
goods.
been in a stripper's ass. Give it a sniff.
I had an intrusive thought, dude. I had to let it win. I'm sorry.
Someone had the best night of their life, blow up their nose with that dollar bill, bro.
This could have been someone's last dollar.
Right.
This exact
that could be
whatever
Mr.
the serial
Krabs' millionth dollar, bro, or first dollar. Remember when they get the
Maybe.
paint on it?
Oh,
Was it his
yeah.
first dollar?
Yeah. He's like trying to blow the paint around it. Oh my gosh. Great episode. Great episode. Good SpongeBob reference. It's interesting. Imagine having 1 million of these. Like how have you seen the comparison of they use rice as to illustrate the difference between 1 million and 1 billion?
No.
And they were so this dude is at this table, right? And there's 2 piles of rice. The first pile, he said each grain of rice represents this much money. It wasn't just 1 to 1.
Okay.
And it was a small pile of rice. He goes, this is 1 million, right? It was maybe this big, like big as my fist on the table here. And then the camera pans and goes, this is 1 billion. And it's like
Yeah, it's just
a
it's
mountain of
1,000
rice.
times that.
Yeah, it's you know, the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is just crazy.
$1 billion
dude.
is insane, bro.
That's so much money.
It's insane.
At that point, I'm just definitely arguing that you have an obligation to
Yeah,
help
absolutely
people,
do.
you know, 'cause what are you doing? Like, you know, at the risk of getting, you know, I don't want to go too far down this tangent, but like when some people can afford 5 McLarens, but they're not paying their employees health insurance, it's bullshit, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we got to take care of each other. And like, that's where this is just greed, man. Greed. And like the lottery is so synonymous with greed. It's interesting.
Dude, if you have $1 billion, like you absolutely have an obligation to help people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you have $1 billion, your whole mindset about how you living your life is just totally different. Like we're out here fighting day to day to chasing our dreams, scraping nickels together. If you had $1 billion, like I think naturally, if you're a good person, your mindset just shifts to how can I help
Right.
the world, people. Like that's what it's all about. Like if you have that kind of money, you know what I mean? And like philanthropy, like that's why we celebrate these philanthropists and stuff. Like, you know, people that are really out here changing the world. Like,
right.
Like trying to, you know, just.
It's an unfortunate system that it does require money to make a lot of these changes.
You know why I think it requires money is because I think it requires that mindset of like, I'm not out here trying to survive anymore. I've bypassed that.
No. What I'm saying is like, it's unfortunate that money is the vehicle for improvement. Right. Like the fact that those people have gotten to that point is great and they can, you know, help.
They can focus, yeah.
But it's crazy, you know, and it's those people are saying, I accept that this system is shitty, but I'm going to do the best I can with it. And I have a lot of this one thing and I'm going to help people. I think that's amazing.
Right.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we need more of those people, man. And
yeah.
it's, you know, it goes back to that same thing of like, if you knew someone that won the lottery, how do you ask them to help? Or do you just expect them to help? You know, do you expect them to know that they have a moral obligation, or is it your job to tell them?
Oh, it's such like a tricky thing. Like
Right.
You would think, like if one of my really close friends, like if my family won it, I already know them. They're gonna help. They better. Or oh, man, see that thought that I just had though.
Yeah, but earlier you were talking about not even telling your parents.
I would absolutely tell them. I would tell them at some point, but not right out the gate. That has to be contained, bro. It's like a virus.
How would you feel if they won the lottery and didn't tell you right out of the gate?
I wouldn't care as long as soon as they took care of everything and are safe and whatever.
Okay.
Okay, Sean. Hey, won Powerball, so you're good.
So we're going to Disney.
Yeah, whatever. We're setting you up a trust. Like we're gonna, you know, whatever. Get you in a house, etc. You know, whatever. But, yeah, it would be to protect them, bro, and like not, you know, everyone loses their minds, like, you know. So
yeah, that's interesting.
It's crazy though, man. Like I'm just reading. I was reading on this earlier. This dude like really laid it all out, and he basically was like, "You don't want to win the lottery."
This is interesting.
And it's interesting, man. There's a story of this guy who he had, you know, we talked about the demographic of people that usually play the lottery, right?
Sure.
But this guy that won, he won like 150 mil, but he was already worth 15 million. He had like a successful contracting business or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So he was already wealthy, and then he won 150 million.
That's
it
crazy.
tore his family apart.
No way.
People like he couldn't even go out to his breakfast spot anymore. People are in there, you know, people know about him. They're in there. You should spend your money this way. You should do this for the community. And he was like actually trying to help and stuff, but just got smothered out of existence.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a dark story, but
That's got to be wild. I mean, talk about, you just mentioned everyone has an opinion about how you should do this or
How you
that.
should do that.
That
That's
would
word.
probably drive someone into the loony bin,
Insane,
man.
bro.
Yeah, just literally you can't even go out to eat without people going, have you thought about how you're going to spend that $1 million? I mean, spending $1 million is a big fucking decision.
$1 million or $1 billion?
Spending $50 is a big decision,
I don't
you know?
man. If I have $1 million, not much has changed. Like, there's not a ton. Like, it's not life. Like, I said that earlier, but
Think about the doors you could open for yourself with $1 million.
yeah, a lot, certainly.
You know, I think about like the assets I could provide myself. You know, I could if I put a fucking $100,000 behind promoting a song, that song will do well, like without a doubt.
Is that a huge waste of money?
No,
100 grand,
$100,000 behind a song, dude. You think about like the budget that some of these labels put behind a song. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why like people in my industry, at least.
So you think that will be an investment that'll lead to
100%, dude.
Okay, 100%.
For sure. I mean, there are bands that, you know, obviously they're at a huge level, but you know, they make over 100,000 in one show.
Right.
Like, think about if you had, and that was a tenth, you know, 10% of the money you had. You know, if you were like, I know what I have is good, I just need to get it in front of people, and you know, $100,000 could do that. Like, those changes in your life happen through moving through really small doors usually, and a very intricate pattern. It's never in a straight line. So like, if you could just use money to put yourself in a better position to be seen, you know what I mean? The reality, at least in music, is that money buys most of it. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of stories about, you know, these indie musicians that blew up overnight, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that was funded by a label. They put, you know, 50 grand into the promotion of their music. It's like money buys influence. Right. And influence earns you more money.
Right.
And so, you know, I can't speak for your industry. I don't know how you could spend that money in an effective way, but I definitely could say that, like,
it's probably similar. Promote the hell out of something.
Right. Think about, you know, you could get, forgive me and correct me if I'm speaking on stupid shit, but like, you know, think about the headshots you could get. Think about, you know, you could get a highly produced self-tape. You could basically buy your fucking way into an audition. Like, I mean,
you could just make your own. With enough money, you could make your own production. Like,
right. Exactly.
It's like, say I'm working on this screenplay or whatever. Yeah. With enough money, I could make the movie. Right. I could just hire people and make the movie. Right. You know what I mean? I don't need a studio to get on board. I can just hire everyone.
And say that movie wins a fucking Oscar or whatever.
Sometimes it takes money to make money. It's kind of unfortunate.
Have you heard of the Matthew Principle?
No.
I was watching a video about this the other day. This guy was talking about this. I believe it's either the Matthew effect or the Matthew Principle. But essentially, he talks about the slippery slope of having more assets, one of which being money, right? So those who have more money to invest. Therefore, their return on investment is larger and they'll have even more money. But so it's like an exponential curve, right? But getting off the ground when you have nothing is so hard. Mm-hmm. But once you have stuff, it like kind of cycles back into itself. Yeah. And I just thought that was really interesting. And he was using the illusion of like, why does it feel like, you know, there's like 10 artists in the world that are like just always, you see them everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And he used the Matthew Principle as effect. And like, you know, if you applied that to money, I think that's an interesting concept. And it's like, you know, the more money you have, the more you can invest in yourself. And so it becomes just a snowball effect. You know what I'm saying? A millionaire becomes 500 million, becomes a billion, becomes whatever, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, you gotta be smart, I think. But yeah, sounds like they got advisors that are legit. I don't know.
I would imagine. You know, you just hire people to make you more money.
Right,
you know
right. Yeah.
That would probably be something I would do if I won the lottery. I would hire just a fucking badass like financial team.
Yeah, I would hire.
Yeah, it's like
I would hire somebody to wake me up.
In the morning?
I'd have a personal chef. Yeah. A life coach. David Goggins kicks my door.
You ever tried a fucking alarm?
That shit doesn't work, bro.
I do know. I hear it going off through the wall all the time. Like 2 hours, bro.
Karate chop that shit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
personal
no.
chef would be sick.
Personal chef
dude.
is a dream of mine for sure. But yeah, just like David Goggins, someone like that coming in, get up. Like,
Oh my
you know,
gosh, dude.
just like force me to. Like,
After day 4, you're like, I'm tired of this, dude. He's just hurting my feelings every
I'm gonna
morning.
pay somebody to kill this dude.
Oh my gosh. I'm just using my money in all different kinds of ways.
Here you go. Here you go. You ever
So
seen
here's
Dumb and Dumber?
here's a question. If say you get, you're going to put a house anywhere and it's not here. It's not in Atlanta. Where is your dream house?
I can only have one, bro.
Yeah, you got to pick one location.
I got to be on the water. There's got to be. There needs to be mountains, water, hiking, like mountainous tree covered hikes, and water. I need to be able to play on the water. So I want to be on a freshwater. I like lakes. I'm thinking like Tahoe or something.
I was just thinking about Lake Tahoe. You're
somewhere
close to
where
the
I can
Rockies.
ski. Yeah, I can ski in the winter, and I can water ski in the summer. Like that would bring me a lot of joy. I just love being on the lake, bro. I grew up on the lake in New England. I grew up on the lake, so yeah. Are you coming for the 4th of July, bro? Are you coming? Are you?
We'll see,
am I
man.
counting you out? Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if I can make it work,
Yeah,
man.
my mom
Money's
asked
always,
me, "Is Aaron coming?" I was
I
like,
know.
I don't
Money's
know.
always super tight over the summer, dude. We'll see.
All right.
Um,
Hold up.
But
How about you?
where's my home going?
Yeah. Are you going somewhere route?
I did grow up, relatively close to Lake Ontario, but I didn't grow up like near the ocean. That's just different.
Okay.
You know?
I grew up on the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't like sand.
You like sand, but you want to be on the water?
Yeah, but the lake's different.
I guess. Yeah. It's
like
like
that-
clay or
Yeah,
dirt.
it's like it's not like you can just jump in the boat and just right off the dock. But I don't know, sand getting all in me.
You don't want sand in your crack.
Sand is a bitch, man. If you get wet too, so you swim. Don't get me wrong, I love the beach and stuff, but you get wet and then now you're all sandy and shit. Like obviously you got to have an outdoor shower. Let's get serious. But you just like jump in the car after being at the beach and you're all crusty. You just gotta like I don't know.
Yeah, dude. You got the beach tired. You're just like ready to take
I
a
also
nap.
hate the smell of low tide.
Oh, okay.
Like the tide smell is like not my thing really.
Heard. I'm so not versed in maritime language.
And I
but
also wouldn't want to live on the ocean because like, with this climate change and like all this crap,
that
like
coastline might be gone.
yeah,
soon.
coastline might be cooked soon.
True, man. That's a good point. Living near fresh water is huge, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe somewhere out west with just like a lot of land,
Yeah.
kind of like a ranch style type of thing.
I mean, if I won the lottery, like for real, I know you said you gave me one house option. I would have multiple places though. I
Where
would
are
have
they at?
places. I don't know. In different countries, I'd have some spots. I would have to travel the world first. I would probably travel the world for 5 years. Be like, what did I really enjoy? Where did I really enjoy being?
Yeah.
Where did I feel like I wasn't a complete outsider? Where do I feel like the food was fire? There's stuff to do,
Do you think there's a possibility you would not want to have any residence in the United States?
No, I would certainly have residence in the United States. I love that. I love the United States, man. It's much like I like what this country has always stood for and stuff. Have we done some horrific things? Like I didn't do them, but the country did. Like, yeah, I mean, I like what the U.S. like stood for.
Stood
in
for
the
or
very
stands
beginning.
for?
Not always stands for. I don't
Yeah.
know. I believe in the people of this country, though, man. Like I believe there's a lot of good people in the United States.
It's a tough country. It's a young country.
It's absolutely wicked
that-
young.
That's another thing to remember, like Tom Segura said it. He's like, he's like, the United States is like 300 years old, whatever. People live to be 100. That's 3 people ago.
Yeah, literally, I think about that
That's
sometimes.
such a good way to put that, dude.
That's crazy,
But
dude.
the United States is interesting, man, because it's a very young country and it has a very violent past, honestly,
Yeah,
with the wars
Wicked
and
violent.
with our involvement with slavery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, I do reject the idea that the United States is a perfect country,
Of course it's not.
and it does have some great stuff about it. And I think it also has a lot of stuff we need to work on. But
For sure.
you know what?
For sure.
I'm definitely grateful to have grown up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
This is where all the people I love are.
Yeah.
But
I would certainly have a residence here. There's some sick places in this country.
dude, the United States really is a beautiful country in terms of landscape
Yeah, it's beautiful.
and all that stuff. But I don't know, man. I might have a house in like
I might have just an
Somewhere-
absolute, off the grid. I'm thinking of my off the grid spot.
Maybe somewhere in the Alps, like the Swiss Alps.
Yeah. I could even be up in Canada in the woods, or something if the Canadians would have me.
Yeah. Canadians, tap in.
Yeah.
Will you have him?
Dude, I was, I don't know. I was in Iceland with my buddies a handful of years ago, and I would see the occasional house, but it's just so for miles you wouldn't see anything. Like that's almost too isolating.
Yeah, like if you wanted the option to go into a place that's a little more populated to get a little bit of social interaction, is that what you'd want? Just 20
I think
miles
so.
from
I think
like
so.
a
Yeah, I think
small
it would.
town.
Yeah, if it was like like half-hour drive into I could go to the some tavern and
Hey, matey. He's like stumble into the tavern on a rainy night.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. What car would you buy?
400 mil.
Yeah,
I'd probably have 6 cars.
if you had to pick one.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Fuck. I don't know. What?
You're like, I'd buy a Huffy bike.
One whip. It'd probably be some kind of SUV. It'd be I don't know. Like a Land Rover or something. G-Wagon maybe. G-Wagon's a little too... I'm saying something now.
G-Wagon, a type of person drives a G-Wagon.
I really like them. They're cool though, and they're fast, and they're cool. Man.
What about a Toyota Land Cruiser? Have you ever seen? They're kind of similar to G-Wagons.
Yeah, I like the Land Rovers.
Okay.
Yeah, like Range Rover is kind of their nicer one, but the Land Rover is a little more rugged.
What was that camper?
Oh my god, dude!
The Earth Roamer?
bro. I'd get an Earth Roamer for sure.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up.
Those things are cool as
Dude,
fuck. We'll have to throw a picture of one
Earth
up on the
Roamer,
screen.
sponsor us, dude.
Dude, that'd be crazy.
Earth Roamers are so sick.
I was at a bar one time, and I had met this kid. His name was Tristan. If he sees this, hopefully maybe we can tag him in this. I gotta find his TikTok. Apparently, I met this dude, and he had a pretty well-known TikTok. He works on cars and stuff like that. Okay. And we were going around the table going, what car are you? Right? What is? And I said a car. I think I said a 65 Mustang. And he looks at me, he goes, that is not what you are. And he goes, you are a Grand National. And I was like, it blew my world apart, and I have not stopped thinking about it since.
A Grand National?
Yeah, look it up, dude. It's a all black Grand National, dude. That is my dream car.
Grand National. Oh, whoa.
Did you find it?
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Buick.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that thing is so badass.
That is pretty sick.
Throw a spoiler on.
You kind of are that car.
That's what I'm saying. This dude, I gotta.
Might have to throw that up on the screen.
I know. Maybe we'll do that. We'll do a clip and we'll tag him. He was a really cool dude, and I wonder where he's at.
You just met this dude randomly?
Yeah, he was just at a bar, and it's we were there, and there's some mutual knew him or something, and we just sat and drank together for a little bit.
Nice.
It was cool. Actually, I think I might have been sober at this point, but
Word.
Either way, he nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it'd be nuts.
Yeah. I think the big takeaway here is, if you had that much money, have your fun and help people out. I think that much money can afford you both of those things.
I think so too. Find something you're passionate about from a philanthropy standpoint. Find maybe an issue that's
a charity that you really dig.
Something that maybe start your own foundation or something.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that becomes your passion. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But and be safe. And don't forget to donate to the Good Hang podcast if you win $400 million.
We're trying to raise $400 million just for vibes. Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Lottery,
crazy.
Bro.
Lottery. Yeah. I don't know, man. I ain't telling a soul. How you doing? What's up, Mom?
May we find that winning lottery ticket in the gutter sometime. And to that I say, bang! Cha-ching! Fucking lottery.
If I had $1 million.
Bro, if I had $1 million, I'd fucking pay my bills.
I'd settle up.
I'd pay my bills and I'd go see a Bills game.